Over the history of college basketball, it has supplied us with some of the greatest rivalries in all of sports. That includes the schools, the teams, the coaches, but most importantly, the players. We've seen history written, and this includes some of the biggest triumphs and some of the biggest heartbreaks. And they seem to fall on the shoulders of, either only one or two players on every team. But what if we exclude all the media, all the teammates, all the coaches, all the set plays? We exclude all that and let some of the greatest college basketball players, past and present, go at it 1v1, no fouls, no refs, like how you'd see a 1v1 on a schoolyard basketball court. Until now, we can have only speculated who would be the best one-on-one player in college hoops history, as some guys, or all guys I should say, either don't want to do 1v1s on this magnitude, or Father Time has caught up to them, and they were physically unable to, but no more. No more speculating, no more opinions and trying to compare stats. It's time for just straight up 1v1 gameplay. None of those X factors I talked about earlier, that doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter if your career ended in heartbreak, like if you came up short due to injury, or even if you had a detrimental addiction problem that cut your career short. It doesn't even matter if you passed away early before you could ever reach your full potential. The only thing that matters anymore is, can you beat the other elite collegiate players from any era, any position, any team, any circumstance? Welcome to my 1v1 tournament, where we feature some of the best collegiate players of all time. I've taken the liberty of seeding all of the players that we have in this tournament by their overall. Very March Madness-esque indeed, and also I have two different brackets. One will be our guards and forwards bracket, the other one will be our big men bracket. What you see on the screen now are the rules that I've selected for this tournament. The games will go up to 11, you must win by 2. There's no take it out once you score. Once somebody scores, the other person gets the basketball. And to start, we will begin with a shootout. 16 guards and forwards, 16 big men, all vying for their chance to be crowned the greatest of all time, college basketball speaking. We will start with the guards and forwards side of the bracket, as the number 1 overall seed in this side is Oscar Robertson. The Big O had a very all-around oriented collegiate career. In his matchup in the first round will be 16 seed J.J. Redick. Redick beat out Adam Morrison for the Naismith Collegiate Player of the Year, as he looks for a sharpshooting to try to be the answer to upset the Big O in the first round. Now, here's the 8-9 matchup. Pete Maravich. A large number of people actually call Pistol Pete the best college scorer of all time, averaging almost 45 points per game without a three-point line. Speaking of the three-point line, we have Steph Curry, who will try to replicate his March Madness that he showed us back in 2009. Moving on to our 5 and 12 matchup, we have Kevin Durant here, a 96 overall. He put together one of the best freshman campaigns we've seen from a college player. You might be a little shocked to see his matchup, Michael Jordan, as the 12th seed of this side of the bracket, but Michael Jordan on paper didn't have the most outstanding collegiate career, but here he is, as he looks for the upset over KD. Now we shift to the 4 seed Gary Payton, who was barely beat out for the Player of the Year that year in 1990 by a forward by the name of Lionel Simmons from a mid-major school who averaged 25 and 11. Pretty surprising. And he'll go up against David Thompson. Thompson tragically had his NBA career derailed due to a cocaine habit, but this is before that era of his life, however, so this David Thompson won a Most Outstanding Player award in the NCAA tournament. AI burst onto the scene in 1996 and averaged 25 points per game as a freshman. 22 years later, and Trae Young burst onto the scene for his outstanding freshman campaign, where he led the nation in scoring and assists. Moving on to the 3 and 14 matchup, we have Jerry West with one of the best college seasons ever. Just like when he was in the NBA, he won the tournament Most Outstanding Player whenever his team lost. Funny little fact right there. Now here is Jimmer Fredette, who will be facing West. Fredette will look to capture the hearts of the watchers and viewers of this tournament like he did in 2011 with his 40-foot bombs. Is our 7th seed. Jason Kidd, one of the best passing point guards to see in NCAA court, but might be a popular upset pick due to his matchup as the scoring wing of Paul Pierce, who had a successful NBA career, will try to take him down in the first round. The winner of this game will face the winner of the game coming up, which includes our 2 seed, Earvin Magic Johnson. 6'9" point guard who can do it all. I'm sure you know the drill at this point. He defeated the Indiana State Sycamores and a man named Larry Bird in the 1979 championship. We might be seeing him later. Magic will try to avoid the first round upset to sharpshooter Adam Morrison, whose NBA career didn't pan out, but he had a very successful career at Gonzaga. Now for our big men bracket, Lou Alcindor, aka Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, as some say he had the best collegiate career of all time, a 3-time champion and the top seed for the big men. The 16 seed is Psycho T. Tyler Hansbrough tries to come back on the scene to try to uphold his reputation as a hustle player. Shaquille O'Neal is the 8th seed in this big man tournament. I personally think he's deserving of a much higher seed, but here he is at the 8th seed as he tries to take down the young blood, DeAndre Ayton, at 93 over. An intriguing matchup of power versus finesse as 2 number 1 overall draft picks go to battle. Now here's the 5th seed, Tim Duncan. Once again, a very all-around career for him at Wake Forest. I was very shocked to learn that he averaged over 3 blocks in college. I really wasn't expecting that, to be honest. And he's going to face another elite shot blocker in Patrick Ewing. Ewing, the number 1 pick to the Knicks, almost was a 2-time NCAA championship if it wasn't for a colossal upset by the Houston Cougars. Now, here is Blake Griffin at the 4 seed, 23 points per game and 14 rebounds per game. He was the National Player of the Year in 2009. Versus Hank Gathers, who tragically had his career cut short due to complications of a heart attack he had on the court in his senior year. I bet Hank Gathers feels like he has some unfinished business here as he's going to try to pull off an upset. In his only season at Syracuse, Melo was the most outstanding player of his NCAA championship, where he had 22 points in the championship game against the Kansas Jayhawks. Might not follow college hoops, you might be surprised to see Emeka Okafor on this list. But he was a defensive anchor despite being only 6'9". He was a key piece to those early, very talented early 2000 Connecticut teams. Wilt Chamberlain, the 3 seed. One of the most athletic big men of all time. He also played track and volleyball at Kansas. He averaged 29 and 20 in 1957, and he's going to go up against the 7'4" Ralph Sampson. In my opinion, I believe this matchup has some upset potential, as Ralph Sampson, despite being at 7'4", doesn't play like it. Before back injury, Sampson was notorious for being as quick as a guard. If anybody could upset Wilt, Ralph Sampson surely could. Bill Russell as a 7th seed might be a little low for him, but he still has the potential to go very far as he faces a guy whose career did not pan out as well as we thought. Here is Greg Oden at the 10th seed. His Buckeyes back in 2007 were a runner-up champion. Him and Mike Conley fell short to the Florida Gators. Wrapping up the first round, we have possibly the best one-on-one player of all time, Larry Bird. Bird in the past has stated that loss in 1979 really stings. We'll see if he uses that as motivation as he faces Michael Beasley. Despite being the number 2 pick and yet not amounting to much in the NBA, Beasley had a very successful individual career at the collegiate level. His rebounding and athleticism will be tough for Bird to deal with. Leave down in the comments your predictions on this tournament. Who will make the Final Four? Who will be crowned 1v1 champion? Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any matchups in the all-time 1v1 college basketball tournament. Next episode, I'll bring you the first round of the Guard and Wings. Stay tuned.